Office Hours, a weekly live show brought to you by the team at Bunker Labs, a national network of veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs dedicated to helping veterans and military spouses start and grow their own businesses. I'm your host for today, Iron Mike Stedman, joined by my co-host, Miss Amy Morrison, and our special guest for today, it's Candice Dietz, correct? Did I pronounce that
That
right?
is, yes. Thank you.
Awesome. And
Hi.
she's actually dialing in from Hawaii, y'all. I think we had a little technical difficulty before going live. But as all things, technology never works like it's supposed to. And for those of you that were in the military, it's like when you step off on a patrol and you've got your comm checks, everything's good. And then as soon as you step off, stuff doesn't work. But it's all right. We're here. We're pushing through. And we're excited for Office Hours today. By the way, I missed y'all. I know I was out last week, but I know Shelby and who else was on? And did a great job of talking through the VAR process. So make sure that you guys are taking advantage for all these programs that we're putting out. And so with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my co-host Amy to talk about what's going on in the bunker. We got a lot of moving parts going on currently.
Oh yeah, yep, big week at Bunker Labs. So as the last couple of weeks, same as the last couple of weeks, we've got Breaking Barriers in Entrepreneurship. The 8-week workshop applications are open through April 3rd for that one. We have our ambassador program. So if you want to be a community leader in your area, the ambassador program applications are open for that through April 15th, tax day. And then we also have our veterans and residents applications are still open through March 31st, and that cohort starts in July. And then we have applications for our USAA 100th anniversary pitch contest in DC. Those are open now, so check that out. And then we got a couple more things. So we've got our first Bunker Connect networking event in Miami today. So check that out tonight from 5 to 7 Eastern. Is the first Miami event. And then we have community events happening in Portland, Oregon, Wilmington, North Carolina, Tampa, Florida, Knoxville, Tennessee, and Nashville, Tennessee this week and next week. So you want to check out our communities tab and get signed up for an event near you because the events are happening.
I'm telling you, there's a lot going on, right? So
Yeah.
I want to triage this, right? Okay. First and foremost, we got veterans and residents, right? That's the flagship program. 6 months, get plugged in. I'm a VR alumni. Candice is in the VR currently, right? It's a great program. And so really want to encourage y'all to apply. Now, if you're feeling like, hey, I'm not really prepared for success yet, I need to spend some more time dialing in my business model. I need a little bit more hand holding. Apply to the Breaking Barriers and Entrepreneurship Workshop Series. I teach the marketing and branding during a lot of these workshops. It's great. I've done it for, I don't know, I've probably done like 12 of these workshops, y'all. So make sure that you get plugged into that. And then all these different activations and stuff going on, just get out and be around the community. Like I said, it's one thing to be on camera, be behind LinkedIn and social media. But, in this age of, we're still recovering from social distancing, people dealing with a lot of mental health issues. There's something to be said about being around your tribe, being around your community. So I want to encourage you all to get out and participate in these programs. We'll put the links in the show notes. In the link, whatever these are, right? And then also on social media and stuff, etc.
Yep.
So make sure you're staying plugged in and you get the emails as well. All right, enough about events. We're here today to talk about Candice and all the stuff that she's doing with her organization surrounding Ukrainian support efforts. So Candice, welcome to the platform.
Hi, Mike. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here. It is an early morning here in Honolulu. It's 5:04 a.m. So, yeah, great to be here.
So introduce yourself to our audience and let them know what you're working on.
So I am Candice Dietz. I'm the co-founder and CEO at GiveSpace. And we are revolutionizing the way we give together in an easy, transparent, and sustainable way between company, charities, and individuals together. So that's what we're doing, and it's a software platform that helps connect 3 entities together in a really seamless way.
What made you come up with that idea?
Well, I'm one of those. We actually had the problem as an e-commerce company prior to GiveSpace. So I'm a 2-time entrepreneur, also a military spouse, hence why we're currently stationed in Hawaii, not complaining. But so as an e-commerce owner, we wanted to give back to communities. And, this was back in 2012, 2013. And we found a lot of barriers connecting to charities directly. And then a lot of barriers or actually time constraints in doing the calculations and making those transfer to the nonprofits directly. And then there was no way to include our customers in the process. So we wanted our consumers to also feel like they have a part and really create a community that is committed to giving back and supporting our our local communities. And it took a lot of work, and we thought there's got to be a better way to do this. So my co-founder and I have now pivoted to GiveSpace, and we have 3 core members of our team and then two additional members. So we are a team of 5 now.
Love it. Tilt your head a little bit so our viewers can see that sweet thick logo behind you.
Yeah, thanks.
Love it. So obviously there's a lot going on in the world, right? We're still coming out of the pandemic. More recently, though, we have the crisis taking place in Ukraine. Talk to us about what GiveSpace is doing to support efforts in the conflict.
Yeah, definitely. So as we've got a lot of requests from companies that said, hey, can you connect us with, charities that are doing work on the ground there in Ukraine, and a way for us to incorporate that as part of our giving process. So we have partnered with 6 different charities that are doing different, whether it's through child services or through humanitarian aid, through food relief. There are 6 different charities that you can connect with through GiveSpace, and you could create your own, I guess, campaign is what we call it. So, for example, we're a Shopify partner. So through our app, companies now on Shopify can now easily connect with these 6 charities, in addition to tens of thousands of others at checkout, and they can pledge to give. So we have a company funded where they pledge to give a certain percentage of all sales, and proceeds go directly to these efforts. There's also fundraising where they ask their consumers at checkout to give a portion of their, to donate $1, for example, to add on to their checkout. And then there's also a matching component where you can pledge as a company a certain amount of dollars and then match up to that amount to go towards. So the partners are Hope for Ukraine, the United Nations Refugee Agency, Global Giving, specifically the Ukraine Crisis Relief Fund, Save the Children International, the International Rescue Committee, and Doctors Without Borders.
How do you go identifying the charities that you want to support?
That's a really good question. A lot of it comes directly from our users. They have specific charities that they want aligned with their brand, and then they'll request that we just onboard them directly. And then the others we just have pre-vetted, a lot of the larger organizations. And so in order to be a charity that receives funds through GiveSpace, it has to be 501(c) verified and also have a rating or a certain criteria met through either Charity Navigator, for example, or one of those, what's another big one that we GuideStar. Exactly. Yeah. So those are kind of the base criterias we look for. And then if you're grassroots, we do a secondary, because they may not be established yet, right, on those platforms. So in that case, we do more one-on-ones and look for, as long as they're 501(c)(3) verified, then we take the next step to do the interviews directly with those nonprofits.
What's been the challenge with GiveSpace thus far, particularly around this Ukrainian crisis?
That's a good question. It's quickly being able to create a campaign that brands can use. They want it to be authentic, right? Because, you don't want it to feel like, oh, you're doing this because for marketing reasons. Companies are actually doing this because they know their consumers and they know their brand themselves, and they want to be able to assist in some way. So quickly being able to create an authentic campaign surrounding that, a marketing campaign, I think has been a hurdle. So that's one of our next, goals for GiveSpace, is to be able to help companies and create that in a way that they can, quickly obtain those messaging points, for example. So right now we have the software platform that allows them to give the tools to do all of the give back components, where we do the tax deductible receipts for the charities and the companies that are giving. So you don't have to worry about that. That's already in your dashboard. We have an impact calculator where you can now showcase on your website how much you have made impacts into your communities. But that marketing piece where you can take those components and actually add it in, that's the next product phase we are working on. So I think that's been a hurdle. The other thing was quickly connecting with nonprofits on our side to do the vetting. And as soon as, we receive those requests, they always say the best advice you're going to get from your business is to listen to your customers. And we really try to do that at GiveSpace, and the feedback we get, and we are so grateful for our early users. We've only been in market now for 3 months. So it's been incredible to, and you know how it is. It's 5 a.m. here. I've been up already an hour. Right? So,
Hustling. We call it hustling. Getting
that's
after it.
right.
Now, you mentioned the pivot. What did you pivot initially from?
An e-commerce children's brand. So we did design, cut, sew, production, everything out to large distributors, and pivoted from that into GiveSpace, going to more of a software model.
Now, I'm sure a lot of our viewers are curious, right? Anytime we talk about software products, et cetera, we have to go raise venture capital. Did you bootstrap? What was the process like for you actually to build out the platform?
Yeah, definitely bootstrapped. We were very lucky. My co-founder comes from, she's a music marketing executive in LA. So, and then created her own branding agency. So she's got a wealth of digital marketing experience. I come more from the communications and nonprofit background, so melding kind of those two. And then we worked with our CTO now on a contract basis, and for 8 months prior to actually having him come on board as a founding member. So it was, I guess, a lot of luck and experience, right, in different industries, kind of melding together. And we are bootstrapped. We did this from the ground up.
Love it. So we got I want to give a couple shout outs. I want to shout out Jared H. Smith, who says, greetings, Mike and the Bunker team. What's up, Jared? Always appreciate your show support. Shout out to Dwayne, who says he's in Belarus. We got John Chillison, who says aloha. And then Dr. Marlon K. What's up, Marlon? James Rowland. Obviously, it's great for the Bunker to be back and out there. So for those of you that are tuning in, please go ahead and drop some questions in the chat for Candice. Again, I call this peer-to-peer learning, right? This is a great opportunity to share best practices, et cetera, from real entrepreneurs who are in the fight and not too far ahead from a lot of you. So while we're waiting for people to drop questions, if they have any, I'll tell you, Candice, I have a good friend of mine, Anton Aku, who was in the VIR as well for his company, Voyager Cold Brew. So a cold brew coffee company, Hawaiian blend. And back in the day, I spent some time in Hawaii as well. So listen, beautiful sun though. I'm sure the cost of living has gone up with COVID and inflation and everything else under the sun. But it's great to see you still cultivating that entrepreneurial spirit.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, I think Hawaii is coming out of that hurdle now, and they're really looking at sustainable tourism, and really, instead of marketing tourism, really managing it in a different way that's more beneficial to both residents and tourists alike. So it's nice to see that change happening, and hopefully GiveSpace can be a part of that as well.
While I have you here, I'm also curious. Share with our viewers your experience thus far in the VAR. Why is it important to have a community like that as you're dialing in, from a
Yeah.
closet at 5 a.m.?
Right. So I am a part of the VIR in Los Angeles, and it has been incredible to have accountability, right, with your cohort. I think that's incredible. And then also just, when this happened, just sharing, even with the Ukraine efforts, I just put a blurb out there to the Bunker Labs community. And, it was amazing to see the response and support that has come through the community there. And so just, we are all going through kind of the same issues, but in various different industries, I feel like. And so working together, bouncing off ideas from one another, sharing learning experiences, sharing connections, our networks has been extremely beneficial. So it's so good to meet you too, Mike. I've heard so much about you. So it's so nice to connect this way as well.
I hope only good things.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So now we're going to transition to one of my favorite parts of office hours, which are book recommendations. So as Miss Two-Time Entrepreneur, what book recommendations do you have for our viewers tuning in today?
So I chose Fundraising. It's a simple, really simple book on fundraising by Ryan Breslow. It's like more of a pamphlet actually, but it really dials it down to digestible pieces. And then it also gives you tools. So I'm a huge fan of that book. It's helped me a lot. Let's see, we bootstrapped and then we raised a small round, went through an accelerator here in Hawaii called Blue Startups. So, I'm still new to the fundraising space, but definitely diving in further to that. And I would say this book was recommended to me by someone else out of Blue Startups, and it's been phenomenal. It's a quick read, which you could do really quickly. So I recommend that if anyone's looking to fundraise in the near future. And then the other one was Atomic Habits. I know that's a popular book these days, but I also really like books that not only tell stories, but also give you good bullet points that you can take away and actually incorporate into your life, right? So it's like broken down into 1, 2, 3, do this in order to make this a daily habit versus here's a story of how I made it a daily habit. So those two books are my 2 book recommendations.
Love Atomic Habits. I got to check out the fundraising book, but definitely a James Clear fan. Before I share my book recommendation, I want to go to one of our viewers. Dr. Marlon K. John says, "Hi, Candice. Sitting as an NPO foundation that's looking to grow, can we request assistance and pairing with fundraising campaigns or goals through GiveSpace, or do we have to already bring our corporate sponsors to you guys?"
Hi, Marlon. So no, you can request to pair fundraising campaigns with us. We have a nonprofit portal specifically for nonprofits. There's no charge for nonprofits. They're just beneficiaries of the giving component. So we are on the nonprofit side building out a partnership platform there as well, which I can go through that separately with you on a one-on-one, but there's definitely added soon to be a more robust nonprofit side for GiveSpace.
Love it. All right, Dr. Marlon, hope that answered your question. My book recommendation is Obsessed, Building a Brand People Love from Day One by Emily Hayward, co-founder of Red Antler. I don't know if y'all been following my social media, but I've been leaning heavily in the brand strategy and positioning. That's my niche. And so I'm really trying to lean in and learn as much as I can, because one thing I've noticed for our community of veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs is that we've really got a lot of great programs in terms of helping us clarify our value props, putting the pitch decks together. But in terms of actually going to market, driving revenue, right, I figured out that there's a gap. So that's why I'm spending so much time learning about brand strategy and positioning, so I can share these lessons learned with many of you all in the workshop series, in the VR Masterclass, and now on the Transition podcast. And what's unique about Emily is Red Antler is the brand behind Casper the furniture company, Allbirds, and a lot of other startups, right? They got started in like 2007, and now they've expanded to like over 100 employees, etc. And they actually work a lot with startups in stealth mode. So even before they've gone public, even before they built their product, right, they're working on branding. And one of the things in a commodity of a marketplace these days, where with the internet, it's pretty, there's a lot of startups and ventures that are getting launched that are very similar. And one of the things that a brand does, it builds a moat around your business, right? It's a clear differentiator. Brands can make you feel a certain way, unlike others. And so I'm really leaning and learning into this book. And so it's a good one, man. I encourage y'all to check it out if you want to know what it takes to build a brand from day one. One of the things that I have walked away with, I'm always a fan, particularly for early stage founders, to not make people guess as what you do, right? So for my company, Ironbound Media, pretty much no secret, we're in new media, podcasting, etc. But one of the things that I learned through the book was it's okay to also tap into the emotions. So with the name Allbirds, right? Allbirds was a reference to New Zealand. And, before anybody inherited New Zealand, it was just all birds. So it equates this kind of emotion when you think about the island, et cetera. So just a real nice, quick takeaway. So check it out. You can get it on Amazon, et cetera. And let us know what you think. And if you got a book recommendation, feel free to go ahead and drop it in the chat. So as we wrap up today, Candice, tell our viewers how people can follow you, how they can support you, and how we can, as a community, elevate the work you're doing with GiveSpace.
Thanks so much. I'd love to connect, so you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm not as active on social media, but I'm on Twitter as well under Dietz_Candice, and on Instagram, Candice Dietz. But I don't post that much there. I'm a mom of 2 as well, so lots to juggle. I still have a 4-year-old and then a middle schooler, so a lot happening. But would love to connect with any nonprofits if you're interested in onboarding onto our platform as a beneficiary, and would love to talk to you there. Would also love to connect if you are interested in incorporating our software program into your business, whether it's internally or externally. Would love to kind of give you a demo and show you all of the opportunities there as well. And then please let me know how I can support you as well. I'm definitely, a proponent of sharing and being really transparent in all of my learnings, and all of the pitfalls and, trip ups. So yes, would love to connect with more members of the Bunker Labs community.
Well, Ken, it's been a pleasure having you today. Y'all heard it, y'all. Head over to GiveSpace, show her some love on LinkedIn and on her Instagram account, Twitter account, and let's keep elevating these amazing entrepreneurs within the Bunker Labs community. Before we close out, I'd like to acknowledge our virtual event sponsors for the day, MetLife Foundation, and their commitment to supporting veterans and military spouses transitioning into the workforce, as well as entrepreneurs. I also want to encourage everyone to check out the podcast, The Transition. We have been dropping some monster episodes as of late. And I know they're monster because a lot of y'all messaged me about them, right? This week, I think last week I dropped Rita Hicks's episode from Gotspot, amazing entrepreneur that's been in an ecosystem for quite some time. Her and I both won grants through the Street Shares Foundation. Who else did we release? Dr. Paris Love, OG of an entrepreneur. She's been in business 19 years now, y'all. Like 19 years hustling to provide value. You can hear her story. And we've really been highlighting a lot of the amazing women we have within the Bunker Lab ecosystem throughout this month. So be sure to check out the podcast, share it with others in your network, and leave us a review. So those are great ways for social proof. As long as you're getting value out of it, just drop us reviews so that other people can come to the podcast and let us know what you think. Make sure y'all head over to bunkerlabs.org, getting plugged in. Make sure that you're taking advantage of all these different programs. VIR is live. Breaking Barriers and Entrepreneurship Workshop Series is live, and all the events taking place all across the country. Head over to bunkerlabs.org, sign up, and stay up to date. Until next week, everyone, wishing you peace and love. Stay safe out there and keep driving growth and revenue in your amazing businesses.